Hello, my name is Russell Myers. Welcome to Issues Unite. Let's talk about Jake Teixeira, the 21-year-old weekend warrior that with allegedly one of the highest security clearances in this country that has been allegedly leaking top secret information on a Discord server. Now, I'm going to stick with my original statement that this is a controlled leak, this is intentional, and Jake Teixeira is probably a willing participant in this process. And excuse me. So, for one thing, think about this. He goes to trial. That trial cannot be public because it involves top secret information. He would have to be tried by individuals, a court that where everyone involved has at least an equal or higher security clearance. So there's no way his trial can be public. It will most likely be a court-martial, but it could be congressional, whatever. But it's not going to be public. It's going to be behind closed doors. When he is convicted, not if, but when he is convicted, he cannot be placed in a normal prison. Chances are his location cannot be disclosed to the media and to the public. So he disappears. Okay. What if they just give him a new identity, a new life, and a big payoff? Okay, that's what I think is going to happen, and this is all of these leaks are intended to have political goals and agenda, especially regarding Ukraine. It is meant to expose the fact that Ukraine is losing, that there are severe doubts that Ukraine may never conduct any spring or summer offensive. But if they do, they may take some small amount of territory, but there is no way they're going to take Crimea. There is no way they are going to push Russian forces out of Ukraine. However, let's say that I'm wrong. Let's say that all of this is real and accurate. His activities, his identity, were not detected, identified. He was not identified and revealed by the intelligence agencies, by the military. His identity and activities were revealed by the media. This is what led to his arrest. I forget, I think it was the New York Times that revealed his identity. It might have been the Washington Post, though. They've been competing on this. And, okay, so this literally makes our media an arm of the security apparatus in this country. We've known for years that the media is an arm of the government. That's all there is to it. The divisions in this country, everything, one side of the media just acts as stenographers for the government. And then the other side just attacks on superficial grounds. You know, on both sides. On both sides, the media acts as an arm of the state government, of the national government, the state government. This is not media. This is propaganda, pure and simple. So let's go to another issue. And let me bring this up. Okay. U.S. charges 4 Americans and 3 Russians in election discord case. Funny how they're using the term discord. Okay. All right. The U.S. citizens, 4 U.S. citizens, let's see, and 2 Russians were added to an existing case in Tampa, Florida, federal court involving Alexander Ionov, described by prosecutors as the founder of a Moscow-based organization funded by the Russian government to carry out a clandestine influence campaign in the U.S. The 4 Americans are all part of the African People's Socialist Party, and Uhuru movement, which has locations in St. Petersburg, Florida, and St. Louis. Among those charged is Omali Yeshitela, chairman of the U.S.-based organization, which was raided by the FBI last summer, where Ionov was originally charged. All right. The Uhuru group they say that this group was involved in election interference. The Uhuru group did have a candidate who ran unsuccessfully for a St. Petersburg City Council seat in 2019. Aretha Gilkenyan, who is not charged in the indictment, she held a news conference in 2022 in which she defended Russia, saying world colonial powers have been collaborating against Russia for more than a century. Yeshitela, the indictment adds, traveled from Tampa to Moscow in 2015 to meet with Ionov and other Russians to communicate on future cooperation, according to an Ionov email. What followed was covert Russian funding and support for various activities in the U.S. until summer 2022, including demonstrations at the California and Georgia state capitals and at an unnamed social media company in San Francisco. So they held, demonstrations, protests. Okay, so Yeshitela denies receiving any funding from the Russian government. And so they support the Russian invasion of Ukraine. This poses a problem. He has some ties to Russia, not the Russian government, but Russia. Any person walking, any janitor in Russia, if some American talks to some janitor in Russia, then it's Russia. You just think about that. It has nothing, to do with the Russian government. Now, I want you to consider, what if he had gone to Israel and met with, extremists in Israel and expressed support for Israel's invasion and colonization of Palestine? Would he be facing any legal charges? Would the government have picked him up and called him an agent of a foreign power? Would that be happening? Also, think about how this is presented. The article I just shared was from the Associated Press. And think about the way that this was presented, as though he is already guilty, convicted. Whatever happened to, innocent until proven guilty? No matter what. Look at his views. Has the Associated Press or any media source in this country ever taken a poll of Americans as to how many people may actually support the Russian invasion of Ukraine? How many more people can be picked up on these charges, whether they've ever traveled to Russia or talked to a Russian at all? Myself, this could very well make me a target. I have not expressed support for the Russian invasion of Ukraine, but I have not exactly opposed it. I've been fairly neutral, but I have detailed what led up to this very clearly, and that and I have stated that Russia's invasion of Ukraine was justified because of the slaughter of people in Donbass by Ukraine. I have stated that. Does that make me a Russian asset? If a person opposes the United States support, arming, funding of Ukraine, does that make them a Russian asset? If you think that we should not be sending money to you, we're up to at least $130 billion that have been sent to or promised to Ukraine at this point. If you oppose that happening and think that that money should be used to help Americans instead, homeless people, people that are food insecure, etc., support the funding of Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid, does that make you a Russian asset? If you're in favor of universal health care, does that make you a Russian asset? Because in 2016, it was being claimed that anybody that was promoting Black Lives Matter, universal health care, universal adult education, that if you promoted any of these things, you were a Russian asset. This was Russian propaganda. I was called a Russian asset many times. I continue to be called a Russian asset at this point in time. If you're more concerned with your own fellow countrymen, does that make you a Russian asset? And how is the media, if you get picked up, if I get picked up, how is the media going to portray this? If you state that you are a socialist, does that make you a Russian asset? Does that make me a Russian asset? Does that make you anti-American, a traitor? No, it does not. If you have your own political views, if you hold protests, that doesn't make you an agent of a foreign country. And let's say that he got money from Russia. Well, what if he was getting money from AIPAC? Would he be charged as an agent of a foreign country? Now, I have been encouraging people for years to turn off corporate media But we are beyond the point where that does any good, because now you look at what is happening. People are being arrested for their political views. Remember, in the early 20th century, that Eugene V. Debs, a socialist candidate for U.S. president, was arrested and imprisoned for opposing U.S. involvement in the First World War. And there, you know, we're right back there right now. If you oppose U.S. involvement in Ukraine or China, Taiwan, etc., if you protest against these, you are at risk of being arrested, imprisoned, charged with being an agent of a foreign power, being charged as a traitor, possibly a terrorist, even if you take no, violent actions. You do not promote any violent actions. This is where we're at today. I've said many times, we keep on seeing more and more censorship, and this is only going to get worse. I've said that at some point my channel may just disappear. I may disappear, and you just won't hear anything from me. You won't know anything, because I'm not live streaming. If they come breaking through my front door, you know, while I'm recording, the recording just doesn't get finished. It never gets posted online. I would just disappear, and you would never know what happened to me. And the same is true with many of us. If you oppose what is happening and you support socialism, you support the American people, the media is against you. So, still, one of the best things we can do right now is to turn off corporate media, and let our voices be heard however we can, while we still can. All right, share this video. Talk about these subjects far and wide while you still can. If you can afford it, please donate whatever you can to help expand this channel and my presidential campaign, and I will catch you in the next one, if there is a next one. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.